You're watching Talking Horses. Thanks so much for joining us. Happy day after Thanksgiving, also known as the greatest lunch day of the year with leftovers. Acacia Colon and Anthony Stabile. Ready?
Hello.
Hi.
You know, it's great. You do Talking Horses, and we come up to the Equestris set.
Yeah.
Biggest restaurant in New York City.
Right.
Apropos for
And we
Black
talk about
Friday.
lunch.
We can talk about lunch. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to bring up lunch. You want to talk about lunch with me? Can we talk about fashion,
And you want to
Acacia?
talk about Black Friday.
Can we talk about
I'm
talk
more
about
of
Black
a Cyber
Friday?
Monday fan, personally.
How about the fitness? Can we talk about fitness? You
Yeah,
want to talk about,
I'm going to yoga
let's-
later if you want to join.
What time?
5:30.
I'm in.
Great.
Where are we gonna go?
It's in the city.
No shot at getting me into the city on Black Friday. Sorry. Not even for you. Not for anyone. And I mean anyone.
It's hot yoga, too.
It's hot yoga?
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that any yoga I do would be hot yoga. Me in yoga pants is a sight that needs to be seen by no one on this planet.
On that note, hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. The Big A is back in action today. This Big A has been in action all week, but racing is back in action too, and you can play all of it with Naira Bets. Sign up, get started, use promo code MATCH200, and you can get up to a $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Check out NairaBets.com. Or download the app today. We also have the Aqueduct Saturday contest coming back. It's a $300 buy-in. You can win cash and seat prizes to next week's contest with a $2,000 seated pool.
I believe this is the last traditional contest of the year before the Cigar Mile contest next week. So keep that in mind. These contests are fantastic. We will bring them back in the spring for sure. But I'm 99% sure, Acacia, that this is the last one for the fall.
All right, Naira.com/contest. And a little bit later on, starting at 1 p.m. today, we'll kick things off with race 3 at the Big A on FS2 for America's Day at the Races. And what do you know? The A Train kicks off the early show as well.
We do. We have one other promotion. I don't know why we didn't have the slate. There's another promotion going around. So if you bet $500 combined anywhere, any track,
All
over
week,
300
starting
tracks.
yesterday to Sunday.
Yes, so you got 3 days left to take part in this. If you bet 500 combined, you get $50 back, win or lose. I believe that money will be in on Monday. So just go to the website, opt in. That's the big and, quite frankly, the only promotion we have going on this weekend, but it's a big one. So, and you can play any track. There's a bunch of good stakes races out of Del Mar. Churchill, of course, is a great card. We'll talk about that on America's Day at the Races, like Acacia said. So head over to NairaBets.com for more details. But just opt in, bet $500, any track, any place, and any time the next 3 days, and you get $50 back into your Naira Bets account.
You could even do it from hot yoga.
You could, or from in front of your leftover tray that I will have at about 5:30 tonight while you're doing. I'll think of you when I'm shoving stuffing in my mouth. I'll think of you doing hot yoga.
I had some leftover stuffing before we came on
That's
set
good.
here today, though,
All right.
so I feel good. We have 4 stakes today at
We do.
Aqueduct. Looking forward to it. Good day of racing. The stakes on the turf last weekend for turf racing. So only the stakes scheduled for the turf. So you'll see some races throughout the card where it looks like a lot of turf horses, most likely because that race was originally in the book for turf.
Excuse me. We had a smidge of rain overnight into the morning. Smidge. Turf's firm. We're in good shape. There might be some rain Sunday. We're safe tomorrow. Might be some rain Sunday. We'll keep an eye to the sky. But I think we're going to get through the weekend, and then unfortunately we won't see the turf again until April.
That's it this time of year, but we'll go out with some good races. We'll go out in style. We kick things off on the dirt, though, with the nice maiden special weight for the 2-year-old fillies, a mile and an eighth on the main track. Let's start with your top pick, Kaylee's Pride. We have the replay from her debut as she will stretch out in distance. She got bumped hard at the start, the number 5, and you see she really kind of lost her footing there for a young filly, and then to overcome that and run 4th. I thought it was a good effort from her.
Yeah, she not only got bothered big time at the break, but she was able to get herself. You see her right there in those light blue silks of the turquoise, if you will, of Lee Lewis. Gets herself into contention. There was a big push on this filly.
She was one off the favorite.
She was
debut.
5-2 favorite. Yep. And you can see that after the bump, she not only raced well, but she got a real good education. She saw a couple of different paths of the racetrack. She winds up down along the inside. She doesn't look too happy in there, right? But she's also probably tiring after an eventful first out.
Hanging on her left lead,
Yep.
yeah.
7/8 first time out, tough distance to go. There was a lot to like about her. I think certain I think the one Aniston, who should take some money, will take some money in here. I would imagine they're going to bet Juniper's Moon, the number 3, off of a turf race. She's by Galileo. I know the bottom half of the pedigree is dirt. Chatterbox was a Grade 1 winner. But I think you're going to get a good price. I say this all the time. I love betting tips second time out. Love betting tips second time out. And she's going to be close to twice the price she was in her debut, so I landed on her.
I kind of reluctantly went to Aniston, but she struck me as the type that will appreciate more distance. And she's a horse, and it even says it in the short comment that she was climbing early. She looked like she was really resenting the kickback to me. She kind of lost contact with the field. And it just feels like this time of year, these are the kinds of Todd Pletcher horses, more on the turf that we've seen, but horses that maybe didn't do much running, given a little time, they come back, especially getting a little bit more distance. She's by Curlin. She's the foal to Super Sensational, who was better going a little bit shorter. She was second in the test, but this one by Curlin and looked like a filly in a running style that will get a little bit more distance. I was intrigued by her. Your friend's fan?
Yes, I was going to say. I'm a Jennifer Aniston fan. I'm a French fan.
Me
I am
too.
a French fan.
Yeah, me too.
John Aniston, her dad just passed away recently.
Oh yeah.
John played one of the biggest villains in soap opera history, Victor Kiriakis, in Salem for Days of Our Lives. I used to watch Days of Our Lives every day. My first email account was the Phoenix, based on Stefano Demera. Every day, out of the pool at 12:45 when I was a kid, grab something off my uncle's coffee truck. Usually like some Funyuns and a Gatorade in the old glass
And you'd
bottle.
watch Days of Our Lives.
Watch Days of Our Lives. Mom used to tape it when I was in high school. Oh yeah, we watched it every single
I used to watch Young and the
night.
Restless with my grandma.
We watched that a little
Yeah.
bit too.
Yeah.
But Days of Our Lives religiously for 15, 20 years. The Gatorade in the glass bottle was one of the greatest cold drinks in the middle of the summer at all time. A little bag of onion rings, a little Stefano Demera and the Hortons in Salem. Oh my God! I'd give half my bankroll
Oh,
to
I know,
go
you're
back
lighting up
to
to
go
talking
back
about
to
it.
have one day. I'd give my entire bankroll to go back to do a few things differently since, but those were the great days. I was talking to Hirsch about this the other day. Hirsch was a big Days of Our Lives fan as well.
You think you know a
Learn
person.
something new every day on
Yes,
Talking
you do.
Horses.
Yes, you do. Quickly before we move on, the number 7 Gifted you had in second. Pedigree on the bottom side would say that turf or dirt would work. The Dam, she actually ran quite well. She finished second in the Grade 1 Chandelier on the dirt.
She was out in California. It's a little bit of a guessing game. I didn't love the favorites in here, so I'm hoping David actually has her shorter than Kaylee's Pride. I don't think that'll happen, but I'll use her a little bit as well. And Junior Alvarado, who rode Kaylee's Pride first time out, sticks with his main man, Bill Mott.
That makes sense. As we move on to race number 2, a mile on the main track, a maiden claiming for $20,000 for the fillies and mares. And this is one of those races that you would anticipate these horses were meant to be on the turf. You and I both go to Good Morning Angel. I know that the turf races the dirt races, weren't exactly inspiring, but they were against much better.
Much better. Not really much to say in here. She's first time dropping for a tag on the dirt. She dropped for the turf last time. That was off a melee off. She has the turf tightener under her belt. She goes back to the main track. She drops in half again to the bottom level 20. No strong opinion in here. If you're playing multi-race wagers, I would use 4, 5, and 6 and hope to move the chains.
The 4 Tequila is the dirt horse in the race, but unfortunately she has had quite a few chances already. Moving on to race number 3, a mile on the main track in this nice allowance for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And I think it revolves around the number 4, Cupid's Heart, who you had. She'll face Open Company for the first time after being against exclusively New York bred company. And we'll look at her last race, though. She was impressive in this effort.
She's been impressive in her 2 starts since the November layoff. And what I think has really left an impression the most is it's so hard, regardless of the conditions. And what I mean by that is any kind of condition, 2 life claimer to 3 life claimer, A other end to 2 other end, state bred A other end to 2 other end. It's so hard to run through the conditions consecutively. She not only did it, but she did it by daylight. 5 3/4, 5. Yes, she's running against Open Company now. The thing is, she's running against 2 other New York breds and 3 Open Company fillies. This is what you're going to see this time of year when you're allowed to exhaust your state bred conditions and then basically go back to the Open A other than. she's been so impressive. She looks to have, if she doesn't have a tactical advantage, she at the very least should have a good run of the race. If Spiked wants to go to her outside, she can go. But Javier Castellano hasn't really minced his words or his riding around here. He's been aggressive when he needs to be. And I imagine he just puts the favorite on the lead in here. And I just think she's the best horse in here.
I think so too. I think it's she's the one to beat. I took a little shot with Spiked. I thought she'd be a little bit of a better price, but I have the utmost respect for Cupid's Heart. And as you said, with this time of year, with her going from that New York bred company to the Open A, other than, I'm not as concerned about it right now as I might have been. She doesn't meet the toughest bunch in this field.
No.
So this is the right place to go to the Open allowance competition. Spiked gets the blinkers on, and she was one that had really started off in 2022 looking really promising. She broke her maiden going a mile at Belmont. I didn't like the 2 turns for her going the 9 furlongs at Saratoga, and she ran into Fingal's Cave, who was on a tear, very talented filly for Dave Donk, and she ran a good second actually that day. And coming back in October, I don't know if it was she kind of got her heart broken, the wet track. She was kind of outfooted. Missy Greer wired the field last time, and she just kind of faded a bit. The blinkers go on, and I want to give her another shot because I do think that there's talent in there.
Back to fast ground. I don't think she handled a wet track last time.
Yeah.
I just wonder how the pace sets up, and the other filly in good form, and her coming off that poor race. I stuck with her, and I thought Wasp was going to benefit from cutting back from the mile and an eighth. Her last 2 tries before that were on wet tracks. I know she's run well enough on wet tracks, but I think getting back to fast ground, cutting back to 1 turn, getting a rad should help her cause. I'll try and split the favorites. Well, again, David has her second choice at 7-2. I thought Spiked would be the second choice, but we'll see how it plays out on the tote board.
The first of 4 stakes on the day is race number 4 for the New York bred 2-year-olds. The Notebook rescheduled. It comes back today, and you've got a couple very fast horses. Let's start with Don't Lose Cruise, who is on the morning line, who you ended up going with. He broke his maiden last time out for Rick Schosberg. Should he win today, this would be the one who would push Irad Ortiz over the stakes record for the years. He's currently tied with the record set in 2007 by Garrett Gomez. This horse was very game to break his maiden over what seemed to be a pretty well-touted firster in Mariachi.
Acacia, I was told it is Don't Lose Cruise.
Don't?
See where the apostrophe is?
All right.
That's what I was told.
All right. That's what we'll do.
Don't Lose Cruise. I'm just passing it along, kid.
Yep, that's fine.
So
and it's Acoustic Ave, not Acoustic Avenue.
So there we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
You see? Do you know why I knew it was Ave? Because there's no period after Ave.
Yep.
That would be Avenue. Acoustic Ave and Don't Lose Cruise.
Don't Lose Cruise.
Everybody
All
got that out there? We're gonna take a.
There will be a quiz.
America's Day of the Races. There will be a quiz later
There
on.
will
So
be a
please
quiz.
please be well versed in this. I know a lot of people like the way StarQuest ran on debut. He was good in his debut last time. And I'm not telling you
he was good for the last eighth of a mile. He was not good for the early part. And I had picked StarQuest that day, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going to look like a fool here.
And he came back in 3 weeks, and he acquitted himself nicely. As far as sprinting goes, I really believe this is a 2-horse race. The morning line tells you that. I imagine the tote board's going to tell you the same thing. I really liked both of Don't Lose Cruise's races. Acoustic Ave has done very little wrong. But I really like this horse, both of this horse's races. And with Irad, he gets to see what Manny Franco does with Acoustic Ave. If Acoustic Ave comes out of there running,
send. Yeah,
you would imagine he's going to come. He's going to be sending, and you'd imagine that Irad's going to have to sit second, which is like, I think it's his favorite place on earth. Just sitting like second and third, just stalking paces.
He does. He likes the stalk and pounce.
He's a stalker. Yeah. He's a stalker.
And I'm sure he would take that title with pride.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Plenty of people out there would take that title with pride. I would just imagine he's gonna set up shop off, and it's those two.
Yeah.
Again, giving you ice in the winter, 6-5, 7-5 on the morning line. I just thought Don't Lose Cruise's last race was a little bit better than anything I've seen from Acoustic Ave.
That's fair. It was.
He's a little more seasoned Acoustic Ave, but I think there's a little more blue sky for Don't Lose Cruise.
I was encouraged. I know Stonewall Star came back with a lower figure than she had run up at the Finger Lakes, but she just won so easily this weekend, and she was facing a soft bunch.
Yeah.
I think she's a very talented filly for Horacio de Paz. She ran third in that Breeders' Futurity. Andiamo Firenze obviously has some class. And I watched all of these races back several times, and Manny Franco was really smart last time at the Finger Lakes because he was able to get up inside Andiamo a Firenze and secure that position. And as you can see here, he's on the inside, and you've got a fast horse in Andiamo a Firenze. He's the brother to Firenze Fire. Stonewall Star, the filly, on the outside, and they went like that around the racetrack. Now, I thought the fact that you saw some tenacity from Acoustic Ave, which we hadn't seen before, he hadn't had to show it. He came back a bit. It was a dirty beat for Andiamo a Firenze if you had him that day down to the wire. But I think we're going to see Manny Franco secure that inside position once again, inside Don't Lose Cruz. And yes, it could be. I think that there's a feeling from some that Starquist would be the one to sit the trip. Starquist's first race, though, he broke sharp and then he dropped back, and he really seemed to be resenting the kickback. He was off the bridle, and all of a sudden, the light bulb kind of clicked on, and he ran on late. I don't know if he's a confirmed closer type, and physically, I still think that he wants to go a little bit longer.
I agree. I think he wants a little bit more ground. I'm not going to hold the last race against him where he was sent to the lead last time and kind of dueled for the first 5/8 of a mile. I think he wants a little bit more ground, too. He won his maiden, he won his debut, and he made up some ground late into a slow race. He's not as fast as these other two horses. Quite frankly, he's just not as fast.
Race 5 coming up next, 6 furlongs on the main track. Will we break after 5 or do we break here?
We'll break after 5.
Break after 5, all right. 6 furlongs on the main track, 3-year-olds and upward, 2 other than allowance, scratch of the 1 and 2. Let's start with the horse that you like, Big Engine. He's a cool horse.
I think like is a very strong word.
It's tough to trust anybody in here.
I'm going to tell you what the problem is.
I liked Coppola, and that horse is out. So
for me, this is the worst race of the day to not have any strong opinion. It ends the early pick 5, the early pick 4. We forgot to remind you, race 3 starts the middle pick 4 on the 9 race card. It's the third leg of that. It's also the opening leg of the late pick 5 and the second leg of the pick 6. All issues if you do not have a strong opinion in this race. And I don't have a strong opinion in here. I'm going to hope Big Engine, who went from being a rail running type to now is
a big move.
He's just, and you say to yourself, well, he matured. No, he's 7.
He's 7.
He didn't mature. He's just doing things he didn't do in the past. He tried the Hudson last time, obviously in a little deep. He gets his Lasix back. He's back in for a high price tag, which is where he belongs at this point. He'll need some help up front. And he should get it between In Dreams and Secret Rules, 2 horses who look like they really need to be in front. And I would imagine they're both going to be ridden aggressively, one by Arad Ortiz Jr., the other by a 10-pound apprentice, and Matty Oliver. I would imagine there'll be a little pace on a little pace on in here. I think you want to go say Oliver, and then you realize the I's not
I know,
there,
there's
so
no I.
Yeah. I'd imagine they'd hit up front a little bit, and he'll come running.
I went to stage left kind of with the same thought process. I'm not blown away by his chances in here, but I thought he was a horse that he was kind of at the back of the main pack. He was kept wide on the back stretch. There was no reaching Emerson, who really kind of had the best trip in there. And I thought he actually ran on okay to get third. He's pretty consistent. He could be kind of coming from off of it, but not too far off of it. I thought he had a little bit of a chance in here. Could get a good trip right behind the pace. That was my thought process with stage left. But
well, no outlaw kid for you at all, huh?
No, I don't know. I didn't know what to do with him.
See,
he's a turf horse.
I didn't either. And yes, he's a turf horse. And maybe this is a grasp at straws to see if they're going to leave him here this winter or they're going to take him to Florida. I think he's the most talented horse in the race.
That's fair.
And I know I'm going to take the brunt of it on the tote board because they're going to bet him off of turf races. Right? They're going to see stakes placed last time. He ran pretty well as the favorite last time. Again, when you're playing multi-race, would I bet this horse at 2-1 in the win pool? Absolutely not. But when you're playing multi-race wagers, you don't want a horse who you think might be the most talented horse in the race. I think he's the most talented horse in the race at this point in their careers. I'm not going to let him beat me, because if he takes to the dirt, and I'm right, and he's the most talented horse in the field, he's not facing the toughest bunch of horses he's ever going to face on the main track.
That's true. But he's by Violence. The dam was turf and synthetic. We'll see. I do agree with you that he's got some quality. I think the wild card really is In Dreams, who makes his first start for Horacio De Paz. We haven't seen him since February, where he ran behind My Prankster in the Swale. But we'll take a look at his race 2 back. And this is early on. Actually, this is late in his 2-year-old career even. He's still a little bit green. He's drifting out there. He's a little bit all over the place. And I remember looking back at my notes from him when I saw him at Gulfstream when he tried the Swale. He actually looked best in there, and he didn't perform, and then was followed by a big layoff. So we'll see what we get from him. But if he runs this race, but the question is, can he?
Yeah, 2 points to him. One, and this doesn't always work, but the rule of thumb for me is if they don't run well first time out, when they're coming off a long layoff, say 6 months or so, I'll rarely pick those horses, just because it's not the same thing, obviously. This horse has 5 races under his belt now, but it's as close to that as they're going to get. That's A. B, his biggest figure came in a track that was muddy, over a track that was muddy and sealed. So those are his 2 knocks. And as good as Horacio does, taking horses from Brad Cox.
Yeah.
And this is just a barn change. This is not a he didn't claim this horse. This is just a barn change. The other thing is, and the positive is, his best race came with Lasix. It was the only time he ran on Lasix. He was a 2-year-old. He could not run on Lasix except at Oaklawn, and then the stakes race, no Lasix at Gulfstream. So his best race with Lasix, he'll get the Lasix back. And he's probably, at this point in his career, a little bit faster than Secret Rules. So we may be loose on the lead. That's why I have him 3rd over Secret Rules. If he gets loose, he'll probably be a little bit more dangerous, but I still want to see it before I believe it.
Tricky 5th race there to kick off the late pick 5. We'll take a quick break, come back, and talk about the late pick 4. Some more stakes action after this.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, brought to you by Saratoga Water. Anthony is laughing at me about my
just one
fear of
Can I deal
pigeons.
with one normal person, please? Just one. I thought you were like my last hope.
I'm not normal.
It's because you spent way too much time with me in your life, believe me. You subjected to this lunacy for the last 7.5 years, you poor thing, you.
There's a pigeon up there that's just staring at us. And anybody that's been watching the show recently knows that I am not a fan of pigeons, birds in general. Again, I want them to live their best life just away from me.
Me too.
I don't wish him harm. I wish that he could get out of Equestris and back into the great outdoors.
I'm not a fan either. You know my biggest fear in life are owls.
Yes.
Yep,
Owls don't bother me, but
you know what bothers me? My mom and Pete, her husband, feed
owls?
the birds in front of my house every day.
Oh.
And
My mom feeds the birds.
during the
That's fine.
COVID,
Yeah.
the pigeons and the seagulls made their way to Howard Beach because there was no food or garbage here to pick at. So now there's pigeons. Sometimes there's seagulls. I can't. If an owl shows up, you're going to see me like the Kool-Aid guy out the door.
Everybody
Be
can
a
for
big
Phyllis's
hole
cooking.
in Howard Beach. Just me out the door headed this way. Can't even come here. Can't even find any solitude here. There's pigeons.
Luckily, there are no owls or pigeons competing in the Long Island. I mean, you never know. But the Long Island, the Grade 3 Long Island, is our next order of business in the 6th. A mile and 3/8 on the turf for the Phillies and Mares. And the race revolves around Temple City Terror. It's really Temple City Terror and Chad Brown in the Long Island. And we'll take a look at her Dowager win last time out. This was another big effort from this mare who Brendan Walsh has figured out just likes to go a distance of ground. She made that sweeping move on the turn at Keeneland and pulled away from this field.
She did. I was saying this yesterday on America's Day at the Races. It must be nice to ride a racehorse as confidently as Tyler Gaffalione rode this mare last time. Lost ground every step of the way, just kept her out in the 3 or 4 path.
Finishes with her ears up.
Just didn't matter. I mean, look at her. That's a picture.
Yeah.
She finishes right. She finishes like she's posing for a picture. And what's funny is the biggest knock, and now she's 6, and she's a testament to keep your horses in training. Delika yesterday, all of these horses. Her biggest knock in the first 3 years of her career was never going back-to-back. She was never able to put back-to-back efforts together. She's not only gone back-to-back now, but she's run the 3 biggest figs of her career back-to-back-to-back. At Saratoga and Keeneland, going a couple of different distances.
Being more like Goddess and Virginia Joy.
Yeah. I mean, again, you want to talk about class relief. You're going to see it tomorrow with Soldier Rising. This mare is she just lays over these horses. And I know Chad's sending 3 out after her, but for every one of them is going to have to come up with their best fig of their career to get within 2 lengths of her last 3 races.
Yeah.
That's a tough road to hoe. Sorry.
I'm a fan of Temple City Terror. She's cool. She's made a fan of me, that's for sure. Of the 3 for Chad, you go to Capital Structure in second.
I think she's the most talented of the 3 Chad Brown
Not
fillies.
the easiest to ride.
Not the easiest to ride. She also, I think, is the one that appreciates the added ground the most. And I know you can say, well, hey, idiot, Rocky Sky beat her pretty handily last time. I think her habits got in her way a little bit last time.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, this is not a good, this is what happens all the time. But I think maybe Irad, having been back on her last time, can be a little bit more prepared for her habits. Look, maybe she's just not that good. Every time she's tried Stakes Company in the past, she's kind of stubbed her toe a little bit. Maybe Rocky Sky is just a little bit better. At the same price, though, I'll try Capital Structure again.
I took a little shot with California Queen in second. I'm not in love with her. I know that she's only won once in the U.S., and that was not even in Stakes Company. But the thing is that she's only been the favorite once since she's been in Chad's barn. And that was in the Grade 1 EP Taylor behind Mutuakina. And then we didn't see her for nearly a year. She came back last time. She ran behind Love and Thunder. She kind of made that early move and lost her footing a little bit on the turn, and then Love and Thunder made the last big sweeping move. I thought that was a race she could build off of. I think she has a little bit of ability. She ran some consistent races last year, though maybe not winning, and thought that she might be the biggest price of the 3.
Oh, she'll clearly be the biggest price of the 3. Actually, David has them all pretty much the same.
Interesting.
I wonder if he gives her the nod because she has a little bit more speed than the other 2.
Yeah. That was kind of my thought,
a little bit more positional, right? You'd imagine big-time ladies not here to rate today. Jose Gomez from the rail.
I wouldn't think so.
Imagine she's gone on the front end, right? I could even see this being like not necessarily a runoff, but I could see her being 5, 6, 7 in front.
I would
here.
agree.
She's just that much faster than these horses. That kind of skews things a little bit.
Yeah,
I hate handicapping races back when you have these runaway leaders. Yeah. It bugs me because common sense says, oh, we'll just take them out of the equation. Can't take them out of the equation. Doesn't work
sometimes
that way.
It forces the hand of the others,
Correct.
too.
That's why you can't take them out of the equation. Handicapping, maybe you can, but
Yeah.
as far as what happened on the racetrack, you can't really take them out of the equation. So,
Well, we'll see how it shakes out in the Long Island. We have graded stake on the dirt in the 7th race, the Come Late for the 3-year-old fillies, a mile and an 1/8. And, you are going to Tizzy in the Sky riding the wave.
So I have a pretty strong opinion here.
Interesting.
I think this filly's okay.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, she finds some spot to make her stakes debut. With that said, if you're looking at this from a gambling point of view, you're going to get a good enough price on her. I think she's going to be in the 4.5 to 5-1 range. And I think she's going to work out the right trip in here. The one thing a lot of these horses, namely the two favorites, Nostalgic and Kathleen O, don't have is any positional speed. They're slow early. Kathleen O is probably a little bit quicker than Nostalgic is, but they're both on the slow side for the first half mile of the race. I would imagine Jose follows Big Brother Arad in. Falconet from the 7-hole kind of brings Tizzy in the Sky in from the 8-hole. 63 Caliber, the number 2 breaking from the rail, will probably have a little bit of speed. I do think the two outside fillies are considerably faster. I know they've had big hopes with Tizzy in the Sky from day one. She had a little bit of a tough trip 3-back at the break and soon thereafter the break. First time out, she got to being a little lax in the stretch, I think. She was also against the track that day. And then her last two, with some more ground, she's kind of shown what she is and her talent, and she gets better, and I think she'll get a good trip today. And I think you can get the right price to find out if she's this kind. I think she's this kind, so I like her. I like her a lot today.
I really wanted to pick Scratch Cat in here. I haven't loved a couple things about her recent races. She seems to have developed the habit of kind of lugging in and out and hanging on that left lead. I think that she has talent, and she's the one that I really like going the distance. And if there is some pace up front, I thought that she could be closing. I ended up backing off her a little bit and going with Nostalgic because I thought it was a step in the right direction last time. And she was nearly got to Battle Bling late, and I had liked her in that race, Nostalgic. And she's one that she hasn't really kind of panned out and lived up to the high hopes, and yet she's run her best races at Aqueduct.
And it's not even close. She
I
got a
think
little.
she really handles this configuration quite well.
Yep. She got a little lucky in the Gazelle. Venti Valentine found herself on a lead for the first time in her career and kind of got tired late and just drifted. And Jose Ortiz was able to sneak up the rail and get the job done. That was a brutal beat that day. And then, a couple of times behind Ness, they tried her on the grass. And then even like when they try on the grass, it's behind McCulloch.
Yeah.
Where did that come from last time? Her first start against older horses. She's backing against 3-year-olds today, by the way. First start against older horses. And
Physically, last time she looked better than she had in a while.
a tough older horse in Battle Bling. A battle-tested horse, no pun intended. And she gave her all she could handle the last 16th of a mile. I just don't know where that race came from. And now she comes back in 3 weeks off of a career top by a long, long way for a barn that rarely does this. Bill Mott's actually been doing this a little bit more as of late. But this is not a move. This is not a textbook Bill Mott move. You're going to have to take you have to take a shortish price on her. She's a second choice on the morning line. I don't know. We both have Kathleen O third.
Let's take a look at her Gulfstream Oaks. This was back in April, and then she ran 5th in the Kentucky Oaks, so she was coming into the Kentucky Oaks undefeated. I do think it's interesting that they bring her back at 9 furlongs. She obviously handled the 2 turns at the 1.16 down at Gulfstream easily, and that came up a very fast race. It was a 2-horse race between her and Goddess of Fire, and she's a filly that early on in her career, she's very feminine, kind of lighter framed, very leggy type. I'll be interested to see how she's developed into the second part of her 3-year-old season. I thought it was interesting they bring her back in this spot going the 2 turns.
You could, without getting into the detail that you just did, you could see that on the replay, right? She's so much smaller than Goddess of Fire.
Not height-wise, but just bulk.
Just bulk,
Yeah.
The 9 furlongs is interesting. Her best race by far was that race we just watched going 8.5 furlongs. That 16th of a mile is not going to mean anything. Her lone race at 9 furlongs, she got beat 4 lengths to Secret Oath and Nest in the Kentucky Oaks.
I know.
So, and she didn't have the cleanest beginning that day, and she had to make up an awful lot of ground.
Yeah.
Where has she been?
Yep.
And yes, while I don't think it'll be a problem, she's still got to go 9 off the bench with just a half a dozen she's going to be the fair. And I could see her taking more money than the 5-2 on the morning line too. I could see her being in the 8-5, 9-5 range.
Well, I mean, she was 4-1 in the Kentucky Oaks. She had a lot of buzz
Exactly.
coming into that race.
Exactly. She was the favorite
Yeah.
for a while on the
Yeah,
top
she
board.
was.
Yeah,
She
I
was.
agree. I agree. She can absolutely win this race, but again, at a shortish price in the win pool anyway, I would take a little shot against her.
More stakes action in the 8th, the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship, 6 furlongs on the turf, and you've got the top 3 finishers coming out of the Belmont Turf Sprint Championship. It's always a mouthful.
That was run at Aqueduct.
That was run at Aqueduct, Belmont at the Big A. We'll take a look.
You can move on to there we go.
There we go. And we both go to the same horse
How
out
do
of
we
that
both
race.
I have
That's
8.
interesting.
I have 8 horses left open here. How do we both find the same horse?
I have been wanting Gear Jockey. I've been a fan. Anyway, we'll come back to him. Let's go to the horses coming out of the Belmont Turf Sprint Championship, run at Aqueduct. Dancing Buck and Yes and Yes had an awful start, really went down to his knees. Dancing Buck was so fast out of the gate that day and just opened up, wired the field. It was a terrific ride, great performance. Question is, can he repeat it? And I know there had been some conversation about even trying him in the Breeders'
He
Cup
was the
off of
15.
this effort.
He was
the
also eligible
15.
15 in the
yeah,
Breeders' Cup.
and he comes back here, but he obviously off of this performance would have fit in that Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint race.
You know what's funny? The way that race appeared to set up last time, this Belmont Turf Sprint Championship, whereas today is the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship.
Can we rename these races after horses?
Like Disco Partner, and I don't know what you do with Aqueduct because there really
There's gotta
hasn't
be
been a lot
somebody.
of there hasn't been a lot of turf sprints at Aqueduct. It's just
That's
been a
fair.
few years.
The Tepin is run here, though.
I know it's kind of ridiculous.
We could pick a
It's
nice
kinda
turf
random.
sprinter from history that's run in New York.
I don't disagree. Maybe Casa Creed could have it next year or the year after.
There you go.
I think I'll try and politic for that.
I like it.
2-time Jaipur winner.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
We've got it all sorted out now.
We got your back, Lee.
We got it sorted out.
Yes and Yes figured to be one of the horses.
That was
in
forward.
If Dancing Buck could have picked one to break slowly, he'd have picked him.
Yep. And he ran on really well after that.
But with that said, Dancing Buck still ran his eyeballs out
He
last
did.
time. And
did.
again, over a course that he has had half of his success in his life at. Right, he's earned half of his 400,000, almost half. 3 of his 6 career wins have come here. Just 1 second-place finish in his career at Aqueduct with 3 wins. So, yeah, he's been the goods here at the Big A.
He was good at Saratoga,
yeah,
though,
he
too.
was.
Yeah.
He was.
He's been
He's
good
turned
this
into
year.
a nice horse. He's turned into a nice horse,
Yeah.
and he's been using. You know what's funny? You see the races where he uses his speed, win, second, win, second, win. The races he don't use his speed, he's nowhere to be found. But there seems to be other speed in here.
And yet, we both go to Gear Jockey. I really thought I was being creative in here.
So did I.
Well, I guess he's not that creative. He finished 4th last time behind Golden Pal in the Woodford. That was off of a bit of a layoff. He's been facing some really, really good horses all year long. He's a horse that I remember I loved coming back to sprinting. And he's just, I think... maybe his form has dirtied up a little bit recently because he doesn't have as many wins as he kind of did at the start. But I think he's a talented horse, and I think he'll be sharper second off that bit of a layoff.
I agree with everything you said. And he appears to be the one that's supposed to sit the trip
I thought
off
so
of
too.
Dancing Buck today.
I thought so too.
After last time, Luis Saez was aggressive with him through fast fractions with Golden Pal. He's just supposed to be sitting right off of. I mean, you could say based on his last race, he could be in front of
Yeah.
Dancing Buck if
Yeah.
he wants. But I would imagine that Jose Lascano, who's had some success riding him, they won the Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint last year, an allowance race up at the Spa. Jose's partnered with him well. I would imagine they're just going to be right off of the speed.
Yeah, that'll be a fun race. We'll see if Gear Jockey can get the trip. Big field in that Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship. We wrap up the card on the main track. A key scratch, really. I think
Yes.
one of the biggest scratches of the day was Tiger Town Boy coming out on the drop. So I, like you, go to Strong Light. New Gelding, this is the lowest that he's run.
Yeah, I mean, those 4 numbers on the screen is how I'll end the pick 4 and the pick 5. It would have been 7 and 9. I can't trust Strong Light though. You see a horse
It's hard to trust North
June to
Pole.
August, August to October,
Yeah.
beginning of October to the end of November now. I mean, he's in for 20,000 today for the first time. He's supposed to win. I'll have a ticket that says 2378, and then somewhere along the way, I'll try and trim down the fifth and the stakes, and I'll have an all ticket here. I mean, and you hope you get a
It's
lot
one
for
of
the all
those
ticket.
races. It's one of those races.
You hope you get to the all ticket, and you're like, oh, does Randy Persona have one in here? Oh, yeah, he does. He has
Yeah.
the A, Poppy on Ice. Oh, I have him covered already. That's great.
Perfect. Wish you the best if you're playing those multi-race wagers. The Get Out race, a tricky one with that scratch. Well, that'll do it on Talking Horses. Don't forget, you can play all of the action on Naira Bets. If you're not signed up, what are you waiting for? Sign up, use promo code MATCH200. You could get up to $200 deposit match sign-up bonus after your first deposit. Check out NairaBets.com. Aqueduct Saturday contest as well, $300 buy-in. Check out Naira.com/contest. These have been really popular, a lot of fun. Hope you're participating. Don't forget about that other promo as well on Naira Bets that Anthony mentioned. Bet from Thursday to Sunday, any track, and as long as your bets add up to $500, you'll get that $50 bonus if you opt in on Naira Bets. And today, America's Day at the Race is kicking off on FS2 at 1 p.m. Anthony and I will start off the show. We'll be on from about 1 to 3.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. Fun filling in on Talking Horses. Andy Sterling will be back tomorrow.
Yay.
And that's it. We'll send it up to track announcer John and Brielle for a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct. A cloudy Friday, temperature in the low 50s. The main track is fast, the turf courses are firm, and the portable rail is up. On the outer turf at 12 feet, and no portable rail on the inner turf. No carryover in the pick six. And we have no changes in today's first race. And there are no changes in the second. In today's third race, note that number 1 Suspended Campaign will wear a goggle again. The fourth race is the Notebook Stakes. It starts the pick six and scratch number 5, General Banker. Scratch number 5, General Banker. In race 5, couple of scratches. Scratch 1, Jalen Journey, part of an entry, and scratch the 2, Coppola. Scratch 1 and 2 out of race 5. The sixth race, the Long Island Stakes, no changes. Race 7 is the Cumley Stakes. Scratch number 1, Pistol Liz Ablazin. Scratch the 1 out of race 7. The eighth race, the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship. Scratch 2, Bad Beat Brian. 3, Nathan Detroit. Scratch the 13, Prime Factor. 14, Jackson Traveler. And 16, Grilly and Ben. Scratch 2, 3, 13, 14, and 16. And note that both numbers 6 and 10 will wear a hood again. And in the ninth race, scratch 1, Uncle Bruce, and the 9, Tiger Town Boy. Scratch 1 and 9 from race 9. Main track is fast, turf courses are firm. The Friday opener at Aqueduct in 27 minutes at 12:20.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.